Welcome back to the Dragon's Lair. I'm your host, Nexus, and we are talking about another legend today, the legendary Peacemaker. For Colt, Colt originally made them. They're chambered in 45 long Colt. This one is an Italian-made replica. It's like, I think, Uberti. They make a lot of modern replicas of old guns, and if you want, you can get them in modern calibers, 357, 38, 9mm, stuff like that. When I bought mine, I wanted the original, so mine's 45 long Colt. For the tubes, this one is completely safe. Now, this one specifically, I think is called the Cattleman. It's got not the super short barrel, but the shorter barrels. There was also I'll call it, I think it was called the Lawman. It had a slightly longer barrel, a 6-inch barrel instead of the 4-inch barrel. These are all single action. So each time you pull the hammer, it cocks the gun. You can sit here all day and pull the trigger. If it's not cocked, and nothing's going to happen. Older guns, and if you ever come across an older Colt, are not drop safe. So if it's sitting on a live round in the chamber like this and you drop it, there's a very strong chance it will go off. These modern guns, they made them drop safe. They no longer actually reside on the bullet anymore until it's got a little gap there. These, they're neat to have in the historical, and if you liked Old West, you know, whoever watched Tombstone or Wyatt Earp, it's neat to have the nostalgia of these. They are not fabulous shooters. This one, you fire a modern 45 long Colt in it, but it kicks like a mule. If you fire older, what they call cowboy loads in it, it's a lot softer shooting. It's more like if you fired 38s through a 357. It's a lot softer and easier to manage. And this handle is just downright awful. It's not something I would, maybe someone with smaller hands, but I don't have large hands, and this one just doesn't fit well. But it was bought for purely because I grew up watching Westerns. And I really wanted one of those. I have a dream trifecta of this, a lever action Winchester, and a 12 gauge side-by-side coach gun. I want all three. This is the only one I currently own. This one, unlike modern guns where you would pop the cylinder out and load it, this one, you don't have any of that. You flip that little out. That's how you get your empty brass out. You push that, it'll push the brass out, and then you move it to the next cylinder. You push it out, shift it to the next. And then once you're done, you're putting ammo or rounds back in. You do 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. That's how you loaded these. There was no speed loaders. You could get pretty fast if you were a gunfighter or such with these, but they were not fast to reload. But compared to what came before these, which was the black powder revolvers, these were incredibly fast to reload compared to that. These aren't really especially accurate that I've found. They, compared to modern guns when you're used to firing those, this one is a little harder to aim. It's got iron sights. They're, of course, non-adjustable, and you just got the blade in the front. When you're trying to load it, you put it in this half-cock position. That frees up the cylinder so you can use it. And that's how you move it and twirl it and get things done with that. That's in the fire position. And as I said, you can already tell that doesn't quite reach the cylinder there. And that's the modern convenience on that. They are, if you're into Old West shooting, they're all gun competitions for Old West shooting. They can be a lot of fun to play with. But just with this grip and how hard these things kick, after a little bit of shooting, unless you're planning to shoot it every day, you will be over wanting to shoot it real quick. And this one's only had about 700 rounds through it. These, I don't know if it's all Peacemakers. I know specifically the Ubertis have a spring down in here that helps with the rotation mechanism. And after about 500 rounds, it breaks. My local gun store fixed it for free, got the gun up and running again. They told me in about 500 rounds, it'll probably break again. So that's one thing to keep in mind with these. I'm not really sure if they have a ton of accessories and aftermarket support for these. They probably do. There's probably different grips for these and everything. I like to keep mine all as close to original as I can, being a reproduction in the more modern era. But that is, some people would probably, especially those who go to competition, would probably customize it a little more. If I had to redo this one, if I rebought it now, I would probably go ahead and get it in 357 Magnum instead, just because it gives me more uniformity of rounds to fire. The Winchester lever action rifle they have also comes in 357 Magnum, or you can get it in 357 Magnum. You can also buy them with 45 long Colt as well. But that's why I'd probably have gone with the 357 in the more modern. But at the time I got this, the 45 long Colt is fairly expensive to fire. The cowboy rounds are cheaper, but they're more like shooting just regular, like your 9mm target rounds, something of that nature. A little cheaper, not quite as powerful. As I remember, I want to say the original 45 Colt is a black powder cartridge. And of course, the ones we use nowadays are what they back then called smokeless powder, or modern gunpowder is not those. So that's why they have a little more kick and a little more power. This one is rated for the newer rounds. You can fire modern 45 Colt rounds, long Colt rounds through it all day long, and it has no issue with it. Some of the older guns, you may not want to do that. But anyways, that's the good old 45 long Colt Peacemaker, a legend in its own right. And if you are all like gun history, much like the 1911, it's worth having in a collection. All my friends adore shooting this, just to have the experience of shooting, the gunfighter's gun, the Old West gun. They don't shoot it for long. We often then go to 9mm, but they all enjoy getting it out, popping 6-7 rounds through it, and then they're like, yeah, okay, I'm done with that. I even have an Old West holster, belt and holster, so you can wear it like they always did in the movies. So if you feel like a gunfighter in it. But that's the generalness on the Colt Peacemaker, in this case, the Uberti. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day.